exempt organizations. The following organizations are referred to in subsection A. Any corporation organized under Act of Congress, which is an instrumentality of the United States.
Yeah.
So all the states are 501c3s too. Here's 3, 501c3. Let's get to this. Corporations and any community chest, fund, or foundation organized and operated exclusively for religious, charitable, scientific, testing for public safety, literary or educational purposes, or to foster national or international amateur sports competition, or for the prevention of cruelty to children or animals, no part of the net earnings which inures to the benefit of any private shareholder or individual. Remember, an individual is defined in Title 15 of the United States statutes and codes as a person. A person is defined in Title 1, United States statutes and codes, subsection 1. So what the government creates, the government controls. No substantial part of the activities of which is carrying on propaganda or otherwise attempting to influence legislation, and which does not participate in or intervene in any political campaign on behalf of any candidate for public office. So let's find out what year Title 26, subsection 501c3 was enacted. So the churches were neutered in 1954. I'm going to tell you right now. It's not telling me. Watch this. Johnson Amendment, a provision of the United States tax code since 1954 that prohibits all 501c3 nonprofit organizations from endorsing or opposing political candidates. July 1954. Well, guess what happened in 1959? There were so many churches and people teed off at the Johnson Amendment that it 501c3. So let's United States Code, subsection 508C1A.
So
Now,
is that
go ahead.
Is that Lyndon B. Johnson, or who? What Johnson was that?
Yeah, the same guy that was responsible for killing John F. Kennedy. Remember John F. Kennedy, the guy that was flayed with Marilyn Monroe?
Yeah, but I think that he was going to shut down the Federal Reserve, right? And he was issuing. Was he already issuing silver certificates again?
You're talking about Executive Order 11110.
Yeah, was that already happening in 54?
54, Johnson was doing his dirty work as a 32nd degree Mason.
Mm-hmm.
In 63 or 64, he was becoming a 33rd degree Mason. by killing Kennedy.
Right, but I'm trying to connect the dots as to, what he was trying to head off there by not allowing the churches to be political. There's got to be something.
Well, I'll tell you. Hang on a second. Executive Order 11110, issued by U.S. President John F. Kennedy, June 4th, 1963. Issue silver certificates. So, right here,
He must have known that he was going to do that.
he was. And so this is June 4th, 1963.
I'm looking
Let's
for.
see. What
Yeah.
year, when was John F. Kennedy killed?
November 63.
Okay, so let's go back. So June 4th, 1963, I think this was going to become active 2 weeks after Kennedy was killed. Let's see. When was this going to become active? And let's see. So what happened was, I'd have to do a little bit more study on this. Revocation right here. In March of 64, Secretary of the Treasury halted redemption of silver certificates for silver dollars. Well, that was under Kennedy. And Kennedy did in 1960, under Johnson. Johnson did the same Johnson from 1954. Johnson became the president because he was the vice president. Johnson also did, what was it? Was it the New Deal or the Great Society where he built?
Yeah, it was
And
the
then
Great.
if you,
It was the Great Society. Yeah.
yeah, and then if you're divorced, you get free from the government.
Yep.
So the black population went from 90% married to 70+% non-married, single mothers, and the black family was destroyed.
Okay, so that's the hook that I was looking for. That is probably why he shut down the churches. Voice. That's what.
No, Johnson shut down. You do some work on the Johnson Amendment, you'll find out that Johnson in the 50s was not elected to public office because the churches went berserko exposing who Johnson was.
Oh.
And Johnson could have chewed nails into.
Yeah, he was.
So Johnson was so pissed, he single-handedly passed through Congress 501c3, and it just passed. So some of the churches and some of the people in the churches weren't so ignorant to think, well, we just need to follow the government. Because a lot of people in the churches, the deacons and the boards, well, we got to listen to what the banker says. We got to listen to what the attorney says. We have to listen to what the government says. And they're now in the pot. We have to listen to what the accountant says. So now the accountant, the attorney, and the banker are in bed with the government to do 501c3. So 1959, subsection 508 gets added, 26 U.S. Code subsection 508, special rules with respect to section 501c3 organizations. So 508c1a. Now, 508 in the Greek, in Strong's Exhaustive Concordance, is the number of upper room in the New Testament.
Who's responsible for that for getting that bill passed?
508c1a?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'll have to look into that. And if you remind me, I'll do some research on that. Title 26 United States Code, subsection 508c1a. Look at this. Exceptions. C, exceptions. 1, mandatory exceptions. Subsection A and B shall not apply to A. It doesn't apply to churches. It doesn't apply to integrated auxiliaries of churches. It doesn't apply to conventions or associations of churches, or B, private foundations.
Which is exactly what we are at
So for
TKC.network.
NEIN number, if
An
you're a church,
auxiliary of
churches aren't churches, they're supposed
508C1A
when we go to Ecclesia Not Church by
Ecclesia
Eric Ellis, BibleConcepts.com,
Assemblies.
number 19 under mistranslations and miss, church is really assembly, gathering, congregation, or company. If you're a church, an integrated auxiliary of churches, a convention or association of churches, which really is a congregation, and church is never defined in Title 26, or a private foundation, working as a church. Statutes, codes, rules, regulation, ordinances, zoning, government policy oversight does not apply to you.
Freedom.
Title 26, United States Code, subsection 508C1A. There it is. So let's get to what I just said. United States statutes and codes. The second item that comes up in the DuckDuckGo search engine is OLRC home-house, uscode.house.gov. Click on it. What comes up? United States House of Representatives seal on the left, and right to the right of that it says Office of the Law Revision Council. Now wait a minute. We're going to have an Office of the Law, but then after Office of the Law we're going to call it Revision Council. So we're going to have attorneys revising the law, turning substance into form. How can I prove what I just said, folks? Right down below that it says the United States Code is a consolidation and codification by subject matter of general and permanent laws of the United States. Can you read the rest of that? I can't see it. Okay, there we go. It is prepared by the Office of the Law Revision Council of the United States House of Representatives. Hang on a second. Somebody just sent me something. Okay. Browse the United States Code. So it says front matter, and then it says Title 1 through Title 54. So that's all form. Title 1 through Title 54. Substance is under front matter. When you click on front matter, you get organic laws. Well, what happens when you click on organic laws? You find the Declaration of Independence, 1776, the Articles of Confederation, 1777, the Ordinance of 1787, which is the Northwest Ordinance, and then you find the Constitution of the United States, which is really the Constitution for the United States of America. That's your substance, folks. That is the law. So when you go to the Office of the law is these four documents. The Revision Council is revising these four documents, creating statutes, codes, rules, regulations, ordinances, and zoning.
Hey.
You want proof of that?
You,
Give me 1 second. This I found on Facebook. I'm going to go down to law. And I'm going to go down to statutes, codes, rules, regulations are not law.
So I just looked up front matter.
Yes?
It is, I couldn't find it in a legal dictionary, but it says that it's the first section of a book.
Okay. So let me,
It's
go ahead.
called the prelims or preliminary matter. So that to me states that that is that's the guiding statement. That's what everything's based off of. Why would it be considered a prelim?
Because it's the foundation, it's the source.
That's right. So they right then and there they're saying that this is the front matter. This is the source.
So can you see my screen?
Let me go back. Wait, let me get there.
Yeah.
It says statutes, codes, rules, and regulations are not laws. And this is from Facebook, and I'm going to put this in the chat when I'm done showing you this.
Oh, thank you.
With such overwhelming case law, there is no question about the fact of the claim made here. Statutes are not law. Plaintiff, the court now challenges prosecution and magistrate to prove the statutes apply to plaintiff court. Plaintiff denies being a government employee if the prosecution or state or magistrates wish to say different than prove I have been a paid employee of federal or state government. As well, Article 1, Section 8, Clause 14 says clearly the government makes the rules for the government, not the people.
So
Go ahead.
what we're establishing here, Kalina and everybody else, is that when you ask that question, if I do this, does that mean I don't have to pay taxes? By the time you get through the second book, you're going to know that answer.
Awesome.
Constitutionally, a statutory presumption cannot be sustained if there be no rational connection between the fact proven and the ultimate fact presumed. Statutes apply only to state-created creatures known as corporations, no matter whether creatures of statute and offices of state, local, or federal government. A statute will not be presumed to have action.
And when people hear somebody speak, it gets them motivated. It's up to me or Andrew or somebody else to follow up and explain even more and more. So what we'd really like to do is the people, that we have been talking to and we have been, are coming and learning and stuff like that, is to just somehow promote the book idea, book concept, the papers. Because we put a lot of work into creating these, so it's not only an education, but it's a step-by-step process. So you experience what you're doing. And that's when everything starts to click. And I think that's the best way to reach people that are doing these things, like, going after their bonds and stuff like that, their treasury bonds, when they don't know how to stand and they're going to be in trouble. And you have had enough sense to ask, you're like, well, what if this happens? Well, how does this work? You ask a lot of questions. The average person does not.
Are we going to have a venue for people who get the workbook to be able to ask questions, or is it going to be like meet here on Mondays or whatever?
It depends, if we get enough people that are interested in this book and that, they can comprehend it, and, I would be surprised if they couldn't, honestly.
May I?
So let me finish. So if they do understand it and get somewhere with it, then I think we ought to do some breakout workshops. And but if they have the book to follow along, then they really get into any trouble. But the whole idea is to, and boy, you could spend a year talking to somebody about it, or 2 years, or whatever. But if they learn how to use the website, they learn how to use Black's Law, they learn how, they just don't teach that stuff in school. You learn how to use the Constitution. It takes a while, but I mean, we watch Andrew do it over and over and over. When you start doing it, that's when everything changes for you. And then you know what to say if you're caught in a situation where you've got to say something quickly to keep yourself from getting back into the system.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. Every time I try and explain what I'm doing in these classes and someone asks me a question, it's like, oh, I don't quite have the comprehension down yet.
And
But
that's
I see where
okay. That is okay.
Yeah.
Nobody really does. But I mean, even Andrew will say, wait a minute, let me do this. And he'll go through the steps. And that's what these workbooks do. They take you through the steps. So,
And maybe you do a quiz or something, like before they can move on to book 2, we have to pass a quiz. Or,
yeah, we could do that. I mean, and there's the first one doesn't actually really call for that. But yeah, we could definitely do that. And that's where those cards come in, because they are little quizzes. And, you know, it's pretty simple stuff. But it's repetition that actually teaches people to understand it, because it's not something like black and white. It just isn't. It's like a shift in consciousness. It's a shift in awareness. You have to think about all the things that ever happened and that were ever told to you, and then you connect those dots, and it's like, then you know it's true.
yeah, this was great today. Really good.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So thanks for letting me finish, Ahava. What were you going to say?
Kalina and I spoke before the call today, and I told her I've been working on trying to figure out how to get them to do the book, because I met all those pastors I told you guys out in Waianae. There's 8 of them. I'm supposed to meet with them this Friday. And there was quite a few people that all gave me their phone number, and a couple of them actually called me back and said they would purchase the book. But I've lived in Hawaii 20 years. Kalina can probably attest to this. People will tell you stuff just to be sweet and nice, but it doesn't mean they're going to do something. But I find that what motivates people is like, if we could sell the book as the entrance of the ticket to attend a Slimy right now, and I'm going to use that guy as a guinea pig, okay? So when we're done with this call, what I'm going to do is say, hey, we're going to put together, remember I told you, Antoinette, it would be cool if we could do like a test thing, and we can call a lot of the old He Reigns people too, because they're calling me. People want us to do stuff, but they don't know what to do, which is so beautiful now, because we know what to do. We just have to get them collectively somewhere with people they trust. So if we get a few pastors that are totally trustworthy, totally committed to doing this and moving their 501c3 status to a 508 and learning how to do it all and why they need to do it in the whole 9 yards, so then they can start helping educate the other pastors, right? Now, Kalina came up with this beautiful song, and Pastor Frank, from back in the days of He Reigns days, Antoinette, he's working with the king, with the Mo'i and Maury, writing this whole symphony for the coronation, and all this stuff is beautiful. I had, Pastor Frank isn't the best singer, great composer, but he sang it for me so many times. And I thought about Kalina this morning. I said, he's going to be needing, he told Pastor Rob, I overheard him, we need to get the boys in the band all over the island to start practicing this song. So I thought, wow, they could just do Kalina's song too. Then we could have a matching t-shirt that goes with, so they buy the book, they buy the t-shirt, and that's how we get them plugged into pre-conference or pre-seminar, whatever you want to call it, materials they need to go through the course. That's how I think we should do it, because if they just buy a book and they think they have to do it on their own, they won't do it. But if they think, oh, the whole church is going to do it, or there's a whole body of Christ movement, and I want to go to this conference, and I need my book, and I need my t-shirt, and my cap, or whatever, they'll get it in advance before the conference. I just know it in my spirit. So that's all I wanted to share. I think we could do it. I really am totally confident.
Well, the people that have received it are the ones that should be talking about it. So Kalina has received her letter. She's just now learning, how powerful it is. And so she would be a perfect candidate to say, this is something that I did, this is where we're going. And then I do believe we're gonna absolutely have workshops on it. So, however you want to set that up is fine. But we're not gonna, we're just gonna have the workshops on the website. So we'll schedule a time, say there's, 10 people that have already started the process. This is, as soon as you get your letter, you're gonna go to a different workshop. You're gonna go to getting prepped for the next step, which, we're gonna put together.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if Brandon can perhaps help me figure out what to do, because I've done it 5 times, same result, so I don't know.
You
So
have
I
to
just
say-
want to let everybody know, please check the chat, because I gave you some good information in the chat you're going to want to have, and it talks about when Charlene's, the California General Assembly Monday call is, and it gives you these statutes, codes, rules, and regulations that we went over, so you can have a copy of that. I yield.
Okay. Yeah, I've already got the one thing that you put in the chat. I'm already uploading that to the site. So, yeah, it's a matter, the whole site is actually the workshop.
Well, I understand that, but we have to have like an overview landing page, get them all together for a one-time like Tony Robbins conference, so they get excited about the site. We show them how to navigate the site. I'm not, you guys, we are like the 2% in the world that kind of even have gotten to the level here that can navigate the site, want to navigate the site, and we know our destination. All these people that came out to the meeting that wanted, to talk about trust, I was going to tell them, I did actually send them a thing about they should jump on TKC, but a lot of them don't drive. They're, they just have no idea about this, and they all say the same thing. Well, if my pastor tells me to, and I know because I've been here 20 years, and when I first got going to New Hope or Word of Life or any of these churches, I noticed how nobody does anything unless they get the pastor's permission. So if we go to the pastors and we can get the pastors that will work with us, they will help us unite their body. It's just them having to get this first and humble themselves. The Bible says if they humble themselves, right, he will restore our land. Well, we're all drowning at sea. They don't understand that. So we really have to figure out a way to get the pastors first. And I think, Antoinette, based on what we did, 15 years ago, I think that it'll work now because they trust us from before, and we've learned all this stuff, and now we're just bringing back the party so that everybody can see, wow, look how much we've learned. Good thing that whole global reset thing that we were preparing for back then didn't happen, or we'd all be broke because we didn't know any of this information. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Kalina, because it's all of you guys and all the people that have contributed here and there that have kept the spirit alive that we can do this now. And you guys should have Kalina play you her song before we get off here. I was wow. It's anointed and appointed. And Antoinette, I saw the shirt, like put the whole thing and get it out to the pastors. So we start a movement with the pastors to get free first, right? Take the muzzle off. So anyway, that's where I think how this thing should roll out. I think it really would roll out very well. I yield.
All right, well, I have sent you, this is basically what you can use to get a pastor, interested in purchasing a book or, let me go there. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen real quick. All you have to do is, I can send this to you guys if you want to do this. Hang on. So you'll have to make your screen bigger to read it. But this explains what these books are, and it's really all you need.
Is that the little UB-Tubi you made for us with the flyer? Yeah, when I meet with
Yeah.
pastors one-on-one, I'm going to be starting to call like all of my old contacts from those days, and since Fish radio station days, I have 20 years of relationships, and I'll print these out at the IAEA printer somewhere, unless you want to order them on Canva for me, or I guess I could order them through Canva, what have you. I know that Bianca said it was reasonable on there, and hand them to them as like a, like a little preview about the workshops and the books. And then if we could schedule maybe to do, twice a month or something, that would give me plenty of time to go out every day and have coffee and just sit and pray with them and talk story about from where we started to where we're at, what we've learned, and how we actually have remedy and solution now for all of our problems. Yah, God, the Most High, provided all the answers in His Word. And if we just all repent, His Word says He will restore us. But I think He's waiting on us, for all of us, to take up who we really are and become living again, right? Because Christ said you had to be born again. Well, to me, the reason that He said that is because the system made us all dead. And until we wake up, oh my gosh, I can't keep pretending to be this dead fiction thing, and that I have power and authority to actually be the one who's the authorized representative or executor over that Sedekah trust and over that Social Security trust. See, this is the piece that Mary has really, really instilled in me that nobody else has really yet to this point been able to instill in me. And it's funny because she'll say stuff and then I just quote the scripture and she's like, how do you do that? And I'm like, it's not me, it's Him. He shows me, He tells me. But it's all coming together, you guys. And she's really about, we're fulfilling, like we're the apostles or we're the chosen. And it's not like we're trying to be the elect and be all that in a bag of chips. It's just whether we like it or not, we're the only ones who really understand all this that can try to figure out how to share it with everybody to get them to the promised land jurisdiction, right? So I think,
Mary. Okay, yep, I got it. You're speaking to the choir.
I
But
know.
what you just spoke of is Eric Ellis, BibleConcepts.com, Mistranslations and Myths, item 19, Ecclesia, not church.
Yeah.
So Ecclesia, assembly, gathering, congregation, company, New Testament, Old Testament, kahal, similitude, word, the Creator's chosen, anointed, appointed, and elected. So the ruling authority is the assembly.
Exactly,
So
but
that's another piece of this puzzle. We need 13 people in all of the counties, parishes, or boroughs of America, and then, and only then, can we prove we can self-govern and
and
take our country back to its foundational roots.
Andrew, do you remember how you've shared so many times within Michigan how you get really frustrated that you've got all this knowledge and you had the answers and the people in the assembly wouldn't listen, so it's just like you felt like
They still don't.
okay,
Nothing
okay.
changed.
So no, but something has changed. When I called Antoinette second time around to try to do this, it was mostly because of the assembly. Because after 3 years of watching what was going on in the assemblies, I'm like, I can't even do this anymore. I want to just go start the little church we're doing because I'm tired of everybody fussing and fighting. Well, here's why Maury and I really like working with Ikaika and Christian and the True Vine Ministry, was because they were ready for this. They were hungry for this. They were eating it up like with a spoon, like, oh my gosh, this is what they had been looking for, right? So they were good students, which made it really fun and easy for me and Maury to teach rather than everybody's, they want the stuff, but they'd rather pay for it to get it done than learn it themselves because it is tedious. And I also have learned from so many people, just like I think in the days when Yeshua was walking the earth, it's like they just can't believe it. They can't believe that the whole world was so deceived that we follow this fiction creature that's like a ghost, right? But it's not us. It's that KV trust that they're controlling. So they made it up because they were the grantor. They're playing grantor, trustee, and benefactor. And we're the slaves that are just supposedly trustees, but we didn't create it. So now, to waking up to this knowledge, it's like kind of like the movie The Wizard of Oz. I think we should actually create a board game with Antoinette's little like memory game, you know, the memory cards. You can get your family back at dinner, put up all the technology and play like these old-fashioned games to restore our brain, and which will bring the family back because it'll show every single step of the way that we've been talking about for like, you know, over the last year putting this thing together, that nobody knows what's going on. So my son said to me, Mom, the most important thing is the family. This is not bringing any fruit. And he's standing right beside me, so he knows that's the truth. And I said, you guys just don't understand. If you really understood what we're trying to do, it's like Jesus said, we're laying down our lives, you guys, to come do this. And it's not popular. We're not getting paid. And a lot of our family and friends think we're crazy. But we found the truth. So now we got to get all these pastors, because those are the first ones we have to reach. We got to get them to humble themselves. They've been deceived by the 501c3. It's not their fault. We're not mad at them. We love them, but they are completely hoodwinked, sold out, lost to the Babylonian system. And until they get on their knees, repent before God, and get busy getting unplugged and into the right jurisdiction, they have no power. They all want power, but they don't want what they have to do to take it back, right? But I think with love and with these little workbooks and the economy going down the way it is, and they finally realize they're not broke. The fake corporation is broke that's controlling these big, huge trusts, that credit all belongs to us. And we're supposed to use that credit and that money to bring in God's kingdom and rule and reign with Christ. So Andy, getting 13 people in each state now, after just going to seminars, if we can get one good person in every state, all 50 states, that thinks like us, that just eats this up like a spoon, who is sold out for God. It's not about the money. They're doing it because they love God first, their country, their children, their husband, and humanity, and they think it's worth saving. If we can find one of those in each state, preferably one that's not a 501c3 church, but has a lot of influence in the community, people love, and we can put on these little seminars, as Antoinette said, through our WebEx meetings, we could probably in a week's time get 13 people to be the signing founders for every single state. I just know it. I just know if we do it correctly, we can do it. I yield.
Okay, so, Mary, I've got a question for you. Can you guys see my screen?
Mm-hmm.
Would this be enough? Is Mary there? Are you there, Mary? Is Mary still there?
Yeah.
I'm here, I'm sorry.
We're here,
Mary.
it's not coming in clearly right now.
Okay. Is this enough for you to show your church? Would you even want to show your church this
Still
introduction?
working on 508 with them.
I'm sorry, what?
I'm still working on a 508. Learning the 508.
What does that mean?
They don't even know what they're not knowing. The
Okay,
503,
so that's a no. That's a no.
not yet.
Okay. All right. Well, I can send these 2 pages to whoever wants them, I guess, and you guys can see, what the reaction is. If we get enough people that are at least interested, they get back with you and they say, yeah, I'd like to know about these workbooks or whatever. Let me know if there's anything else you need, but they're going to need a workbook to follow along with the workshop.
Right, but what we need to do is go ahead and plan a date for the workshop. I mean, I need probably at least 2 weeks to make a lot of calls and a lot of visits, a lot of one-on-ones, take them to coffee or go hang out with them, because that's what it takes in Hawaii. I know that sounds silly maybe to some of you guys, but here that's how it works. So if I have that printed out and then I can get them to go ahead and pre-order the book online, Antoinette, like you said, just order it right offline. If, say it's a pastor I'm with, and he wants to bring 10 people from his congregation, right? I'm going to ask to either have it at the gym, or maybe Mary, your church might open up its place to have a meeting, or I have enough places I can get somebody to open the doors to have a meeting. But the point is, they like that in Hawaii, Antoinette, so it's kind of the safety in numbers thing. So, and we just want to go with how people are comfortable, right? So if I can get them all to commit, say 2 weeks, we have it at Akaika's gym at Alakai Fit. And they go ahead and online purchase their workbook, because the first meeting we have isn't just to talk story about all this. There's an introduction part, but then they're going to stay and start doing the workbook. And as long as Andy's committed, Mary's, everybody's committed here, which I know we all are, we all can teach a portion of the workshop. We can get Cheryl and Pastor Gary to help us, but what we need is the structure of the workshop, the time, the date, and not everybody has to come in person, but local people will come in person. But we have big TVs at the gym that we can put the HDMI cords on and have the WebEx show right up there so they can see it and everybody can hear it. But those people who cannot, or they're off island or what have you, that or maybe just wants to have a little home meeting at their house, can all hooey up at somebody's house and watch it together. Just encourage that, because people like it, they come together. Let me give you one last thing. David Straight came to Hawaii, and Jeffrey got all these people to go to Maui, like flew from all the islands over there. The next time he came, Yvette, who is, Casey and Yvette from our assembly here, she hosted it at her house. And we all pitched in money and we went up there, and there was like 10, 15 of us all up there sitting like in a movie theater taking notes. And, he broke for lunch, we broke for lunch. That's what builds unity back in the church. We have to do it. It can't everything always just be.
With the workbooks, you can have a small meeting, a large meeting, whatever.
Okay, well, no, but we have to organize
I'd like
it.
to get a workbook, however that happens, Antoinette.
Do you want to go ahead and go to the website real quick? Let me show you.
Yeah, can you pull it up?
If you go right here and fill this out, can you see that?
What page is that on again? Is that on the home page?
Yeah. Just fill out your name, email, phone number, and give me your address, and I will ship it to you.
Okay, great. Well, I'm
So you
thinking like, Kalina, do you have any friends that are like pastors over there that have a flock that we could call the one pastor, tell them what we're doing? We're having an online
Well,
work.
what I'm going to do is, I got to get off the phone.
Okay.
Way late for something. But I'm going to fill this out. I'm going to go through it. And when I'm on it. I hear you, and I'll see what I can do to
Okay,
participate. Once I go through it and feel comfortable with it, then I can talk about it.
okay.
All right.
Okay, I love you all.
We
Thanks
love
so
you
much.
too. Have a beautiful day.
So I just need to set a time to meet with Andrew, and if Mary, you want to meet with us, we'll work on the second book.
So can I ask you something? Would you guys be available if we were to do like a first workshop, either like, we do Sabbath on Saturday, so we're never done till after 2:00. And then even on Sunday, most people still do their church service on Sunday, so they're usually not done till 1 or 2:00. If we did like a 2:00, whether at the gym or Mary, if your church would open space, a couple hour first workshop, like the beginning of a workshop, maybe a weekly workshop that we start at the beginning of the workbook and we walk them through step by step by step with the workbook in their hand, and then all the other workbooks that come in the future that you guys are going to put out. You just start like the basics like you're doing in this first one, and then do like elementary, moving on up to like we've made it to elementary school. Now we're in junior high, right? So it builds upon their education that they can handle it without rejecting the whole thing. Because that's what most people do, is it's just so overwhelming, they just reject all of it. Could we do once a week, like a little workshop that maybe Andy and myself, we could all commit to coming, and I'll go get people to bring to the workshop and get the book sold. I just needed time to tell them we're going to do it.
Is 8 p.m. too late for you, Andrew?
What day?
Well, I was thinking Saturday or Sunday because you got most people are still working full-time jobs. So, time they get home, they're trying to feed kids and they're exhausted. So the weekends are probably best for normal people. And I was thinking it has to be either Saturday or Sunday after 2, right around 2 o'clock is when services are done. And if we're at a church or I'm at the gym, we could just have it start at 2 o'clock and maybe go 2 to 4. So that would be like 8 to 10 your time, I think, Andy.
So what do you want to do again at that time? Can you repeat that succinctly and?
Sure. We want to sell the workbooks, right? I want to sell the workbook as the entrance into the seminar workshop that people are doing, right? So they order it so that when they come, or even on WebEx, so they just come on WebEx to the show, right, at 2 o'clock. But they have that workbook in front of them. And then they're filling out the paperwork. They're doing the steps as they go. We're holding their hand basically, step by step. Because I think fear, honestly, is one of the biggest, hugest hindrances we have in all of this work.
So, Antoinette, did you hear this?
I did. I've got Sunday open.
So
Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 2 p.m. Hawaii time, which is 6 p.m. Colorado time, correct?
correct.
Yeah.
Sunday at 8, yeah, I could do that.
And you guys, you can keep it to an hour if you think hour each week is good.
Hang on a second,
Mhm.
Ahava. Antoinette, is that something we can do?
Yeah, I need to go through with the workbook before we do it. And then it doesn't matter if people want to get the workbook, it's pretty self-explanatory. But if they need to have what Ahava is talking about, then yeah,
So
sure.
maybe tomorrow we can get together, or Wednesday. Tomorrow or Wednesdays, I think what would work for us to get together.
Yeah. We are not, the very beginning, everything happened. That it's just going to be designated to whatever the workbook is. Another workbook started for Ecclesia, and that would be a good starting place for the pastors. But we're not going to hold hands and teach everybody everything all at once.
Oh, no, I don't want to do all at once. It's too much. Let's just do the 30-page workbook. You don't have to do it all even one Sunday. We could do it if it takes, a month to go through it. But I want to get the pastors and the people, well, let's say not even just pastors, all the Christian people I know are looking for this. But you guys all know, we've had a hard time getting people consistently to understand why they need to be here, why they need this education, how this is the answer, and we have remedy and solution, because they don't even understand there is a remedy or solution. They're still waiting for Jesus to come back in the clouds, like float in and save the day. And I believe that when Christ said, many more will be doing greater things than I, it's all his spirit in us getting them to understand what happened and how to fix it and manifest the kingdom here on earth as it is in heaven. So that's what I believe, and I'm willing to do anything so that we can get people here and that we can get their status corrected, we can get their 508, so the church can have its power and authority. And as Andy said, I totally believe, and I also know that out of the country of all the years of the assembly work, if they would come do this course and do this little book and do these little things that we do to show them how simple it is. It really is when you just follow the directions. It's just, how many years did you have to do this, Andy, to put all these pieces together? And then being able to teach all of us that we understand it, and now we have to go forward and teach others. That's all I'm saying. I just think I can get this Sunday, because that gives me a week. I can start calling a lot of people and get them on Sunday. So in other words, I want them to go to the website first and go ahead and order their book immediately, right? And then once they have that, they get the invite to come to the private meeting, which would be on Sunday at 2 o'clock. And then step by step, we take them from the beginning, how they got involved in the matrix with their birth certificate, all the way to they are The executive.
No, we're not teaching that. We're not gonna do the birth certificate. We're
Well,
not gonna talk about the
Well, the point, well,
508.
just, okay, not, I mean, like, as we go through and the books come, that's what I'm saying. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah,
But just
no,
this book, for right now, this book that we've got right here, right now.
that's it. That's all this is.
Yes, I
It's getting
understand.
the confirmation letter.
I understand.
Yeah,
It's
so
just
the
baby step,
508
one step at a time.
Right,
So do we need 2 weeks to get ready rather than 1 week?
yeah.
Okay, so what day do you guys want to pick? And maybe you can make us a pretty flyer, Antoinette, about it, and then just to add to this. And then I'll start getting people to sign up and get the books sold so they can be there for it.
The 19th
Yeah,
is
you
the
know,
following Sunday.
we'll see how it goes. If people, really, it's just you need to know, like, for instance, Mary, she has been studying this stuff for a year. As soon as she knew that we were doing this, so
Everybody that's ever asked any of this stuff about changing their passport, do I need to do this? What is the difference between a 501c3 and a 508? All of these people that I've been like off YouTube or just meeting at events or the freedom rallies, I have a huge Rolodex of people and I type in what they're desiring, but it all goes back to the same thing. It's the deception of everything, but it starts with your own identity. Like you don't know who you
right,
are.
and so it has nothing to do with a 508 or a 501c3.
Yeah, that's down the road for the pastors who want to do ministry stuff. We can teach them all that stuff later. Right now, the most important thing they figure out is their identity. Wouldn't everybody agree that's the most important thing right now?
That's why we did this.
Exactly. So you guys, if you want to do the 19th, that gives me 2 weeks. I'll get pastors to come because they're going to want to come. I mean, they're going to really want to come because this is the beginning of a great awakening, like more so than they've already been awoken. Let's put it that way.
Okay, yeah, because you see, the people that are even, trying to do a 508 or, they're trying to, cornerstone, or they are trying to update their passport or whatever, they still don't know this.
Right. They don't know why they need to do it. They think that all
Right.
capital person is them. They don't understand it has no life, it has no blood. The only thing that animates that straw man thing is you believing it's living and it's a dead fiction creature. It's the fallen angels. I think it's like when it says man fell, I think man fell when we all started having to go think about Jesus' time. They all had to go report in to pay taxes, right? So when men ever submitted to playing the part of these dead entity, wrong jurisdiction, not following the word of God, we fell. And boy, did we fall, that we didn't even know who the heck we are or what we are. It's crazy.
Yeah, so Ahava, I want you to listen to this, okay?
Okay.
What these books are, the way that they work, is it's not everything everywhere all at once, and you tend to bring that in,
Right.
and so you need to back off of that.
Okay. Just one baby step at a time.
Yeah, but listen to me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna have parts and pieces of things that you're gonna keep referring to. For instance, it's going to include, this book includes a couple of definitions, like we talk about jurisdiction, we talk about citizenship, we talk about status, we talk about that stuff, but it's not everything. The next book is going to talk about a different aspect of something that they're going to need to learn. In other words, all the workbooks all build on each other.
Right.
And so if you go to the next step, you're going to just learn a little bit more, but it's going to have a direct meaning or purpose for what you're trying to do.
Right.
Each workbook is a step. It's not about becoming self-aware or learning how you were deceived or learning anything like that. It's about learning what stuff means and why you want to do it. And if we give you all the options of, you can stay where you are or you can decide to do this one little step. And here's what it will mean in the future. You need to come to this workshop and get this workbook to go to the next step.
Right.
But if you bring up everything.
No, I won't. It's because I see the big picture. I've seen the big picture for a long time.
I know that you're excited. And
No,
you
I am
see the big
excited
picture.
but you're absolutely right. I cannot talk to them like that because it's like Mary said, they don't even understand that they're in the wrong status
Right.
for their church. They don't understand church is the wrong word, that they've got deceived there too. Nobody,
Exactly.
yeah. So it's like starting in kindergarten. We have to, as Jesus said, we have to daily renew our minds because they got messed up.
Right. So let the workbook handle all of that for you.
Yes. Okay.
And then you can have these big picture conversations with people that have had the experience of looking at a letter that comes from Homeland Security saying, we don't have any information on you. and then, that's an experience that changes a lot. It changes everything for you.
Right.
Because now what do you do?
Right.
So let the workbooks handle all that. And then, wait for the time where you've got somebody that knows a few things and they're going to be able to talk the big picture with you. But right now, you're talking to the choir about the big picture that we all know, and that it's a result of just being totally submerged in it for a long time. And most people cannot do that. In fact, pretty much everybody can't do that.
It says we're peculiar in the Bible.
Thanks.
No, that's what it calls us. He says we're peculiar. Is that not true, Andrew?
Well, good. Thank you.
I like being peculiar now. I think peculiar is very special.
Right. But, we don't know what people are going to do with this information. It's whatever they choose to do. And, that's between them and God. And they may want to be teachers. They may want to start where they stand.
Well, I think everybody has the choice once they understand and they correct themselves. They get in the right jurisdiction. Now they have standing. They understand they're a man or a woman. Boy, that's going to clarify a lot of things on this planet. And they have like a sense of identity. And even if they're massively confused, they have hope that if they just hang out on the website with these people all around the country and hopefully the world that want to raise consciousness and get out of all of that stinking thinking and feel good every day instead of upset. I can't wait till people start just changing their vibration, changing their reality from what they believe to now they have hope again and they can actually create the world we all want to see,
Well, it's kind of a rocky road, so,
Well, it's been a rocky road, hasn't it not, since we started this venture? I mean, the last 20 years has been a rocky road, but I think this is the furthest we've gotten in all this time of actually bringing people together that they can see the big picture. And they can see like, oh, I was missing this puzzle. You did so perfect by making the whole site puzzle pieces, because that's how I look at all of us, as we're like little souls in these little avatar bodies. Like we just find each other and there's somewhere you're going to fit. You're going to help each other,
Mm-hmm. Right. And you really can't go, too off the rails if all you're doing is asking, you're just asking for your information on yourself. I mean, that's all you're asking. But they know well what you can do with a letter that confirms that you're not a citizen. So there's that. But you're not sticking your neck out really far. You're not making a huge commitment. You're just getting a letter.
Yeah, we're just properly as as our friend Lorenzo says all the time, we're making corrections, right? That's it.
Yep.
And they're lawful corrections, and
They are.
they're proper corrections. And
They are.
it
That
heals
was the other,
us. Those
right,
corrections start our healing process.
right, and that's the other part of this that has been, a stumbling block, is that most people think that they're committing some sort of crime or something that's going to get them into trouble. But when the government itself, the Homeland Security, offers this to you, I mean, what does that mean? It means that it's something that is an option for you. Otherwise, they wouldn't put it there.
Well, they have to put it there. It's a free will planet. And we all got deceived, and now we're repenting and we're doing an about face to try to make it right with our God, with our Creator.
Right. So at this point, and this is something that Andrew and I are going to be working on, at this point, you do have one foot in the public and 1 foot in the private, and that's fine. You're stepping out of it.
Well, one of the things, like I said, I think Mary's done a really good job with her students, is really getting them to understand it's like Monopoly, and we're different hats we wear. And she said, I guarantee you, people who are brought up understanding trust law and very wealthy elite families, by the time, as I think Andrew has said before, like they're 13 years old, they know how to be in the world, but not of the world. Public school, especially when they took God out of it and stopped praying, and then we didn't learn the word of God, everything kind of shifted, right? People don't have an identity. All they think themselves as is what comes in their letterbox with those all capital names. And their whole life, they've been treated like a slave in the corporation. And they have no idea. None of them, even the pastors and most Christians, don't even really understand that this trick has been played on them. And it's hard for them to handle. But if we can do it like you're doing in these little books and these little step by step, then we don't have to beat them over the head about it, how they've been deceived. We can just let them figure it out for themselves by following the yellow brick road. One little baby step at a time.
Right. So, we can, let me know if you need anything else besides what's here.
If you can make me like a flyer for June or for May 19th, that Sunday at 2 p.m. Hawaii time, and then all the corresponding for all of our pastor friends and people who would like to go to the seminar or the conference on Sunday, that I can send it to them via email or through the text is even better, like a little flyer of how they log on to WebEx, what time it is, and their first step is to purchase the workbook so they're ready for the class. That would be great. And then I'll send this, which you've already composed, with it, which is the outline of what we're going to be going over. And then your little video right on the web on tkc.network, I'll send them there so that they can like and subscribe to our channel, or, subscribe to the network, that they get all the updates. And then what's the last step that we need them to do on there? So they put their email in, and then they should get all the future stuff, correct?
Well, just send them to the website to order a book.
Well, yes, and then the book,
Right.
you can order it, you said, right on the homepage, right on the front page, is that correct?
Yeah, they need to fill out the order form, and then I will
Okay, so
send it to them.
Okay, and then can you keep everybody's phone number and email so that we can follow up with them? Because I like to remind people before class. People get busy, they forget. So like give them a little call that Sunday, 2:00, we've got the seminar starting. Get your workbook, your pad of paper, whatever else you're gonna need as tools so you can sit down and pay attention. That would be good.
Yeah, because they're gonna need the workbook to keep themselves on track. But probably during the workshop, Andrew and I are going to be all over the place.
Well, that's why I was gonna think maybe they might just wanna have loose leaf paper, binder paper with holes in it to stick in a thing to go along with the workbook. But let's make sure they have the workbook, because that is it's like their syllabus, right, for a class.
Well, there's gonna be so many of them. They're gonna want to, have a little library of everything.
Right.
And then especially, the next step when they want to get a hold of their birth
Right.
certificate.
Right.
All it is updating it. It's correcting it.
Okay, perfect. I can do this, sweetie. I'm so excited because I do know people are interested. The folks that went to Frank 26's meeting last Sunday, they were interested. I've talked to a couple other pastors like that are going through Mary's class that are talking to other pastors. And a lot of them are really interested in coming together just for revival and to play music and stuff. So if we can get them talking together again, and then we have the workbooks around and people are coming to the classes, it will spread. People will want to come, I guarantee it.
Okay, well, if everybody's still on the call here, Ahava and I have started the 508 workbook. Do you guys want to schedule a time to work on that? Mary, that might be helpful.
I can help you with it whenever you have time. I'm available. Just tell me when you want to set up a class and we'll work on the next workbook on 508.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm interested in knowing more and helping with that.
Okay, all right, and Mary, if you want to, just, you guys send me an email, and, because this one's done.
Yay.
And then, yeah, Andrew and I are gonna start working on, the next step with your birthday. And then, the 508 is one that is almost done too.
Okay, awesome.
I'm interested in working, but I need to work closely with you on when we get together because I have Turo deliveries these days.
Okay. All right.
All right, guys, great meeting. I'm so excited about the 19th. So it's okay with everybody. We're all confirming 2 p.m. Hawaii time. The 19th will be our first meeting, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to get on the phone and start calling all my pastor friends in Hawaii and trying to get everybody to come. All right, guys. Okay, talk to you later. Love you. Have a beautiful day.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
All right, you guys. This is Pastor Ahava in Hawaii, and this is, as you guys have probably seen, a labor of love. We are TKC.network. It's a 508c1a nonprofit ministry where freedom of speech is still pertaining to everybody. There's so many benefits of 508c1a versus 501c3, which is a state-controlled church, but it's not Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus Christ-controlled church. So who do you want to be under? Do you want to be under the Most High Creator or a man-made fiction world? So if you want to come out of Babylon, you want to learn the truth and be set free, perhaps you've been learning about the global reset or the currency stuff. We know from our He Reigns days, it was back 10, 11 years ago, we hooied up about 300 small ministries in the state of Hawaii. And I'm going to be calling all of our old pastor friends and everybody and bringing them together for such a time as this, because it's time for revival, you guys. It's time to lighten the load, to learn who you really are, to reclaim your inheritance in the kingdom of heaven. The wealth of the wicked is stored up for the righteous, and you are not slaves. You're supposed to be the head, not the tail, but you got tricked along the way. And there has been like a lot of sly people who've been running things for a long time. But you guys don't have to be deceived anymore. You can wake up, shake it off, love those that deceived you, and teach them the truth, because there's enough abundance and just financial, unbelievable amount of wealth that's coming back to God's kids. So if you'd like to be a part of the kingdom of heaven on earth, please call us. Call us at 808-476-0332. I am making appointments now to take pastors, evangelists, friends who have little ministries with helping the homeless or whatever it is. Maybe it might be a car ministry. You want to help people, older people that can't afford these big dealerships or what have you, or that they get ripped off. Maybe you want to help people, declutter their house, or maybe you want to do elder care, animal care, whatever it is. We can help you set up your nonprofit, tax exempt, out of separation of church and state ministry. So call us 808-476-0332. We love you very much. I'm going to show you real quickly. This is a Thy Kingdom Come network. It is a Welcome to the Kingdom network where we teach you the truth and all kinds of stuff, uncovering common law and the truth, which you just heard. To Tuesdays, we teach all about real money. They're about ready to crash the entire fiat system. So it would be a really good time to jump on Tuesday's call and get into gold and silver. On Wednesday, we have the status correction. We're working on, as you just heard, our brand new 508C book. We've been helping people